it was as basic as it could be. It was just really about lining up in some very, very simple, really day one fronts and coverages, having our guys, try to make sure, evaluate and play them hard, fast. But the biggest thing is, today we're tackling. So it's a great evaluation tool, and with what we're doing, we're trying to, get to the gate with as healthy a football team as we possibly can. But when we have the opportunity to go out and scrimmage and tackle, that's the most important evaluation piece, because that's the game of football. So for those younger guys, that's huge for them.
It seemed unfair that you weren't mic'd up for a. Would that ever work? Putting a mic on you for a quarter?
I don't think so. I actually was mic'd up for one of the TV shows, and I had to kick myself a couple times to make sure I was.
How are your young corners coming along? It would seem.
I think as a unit, collectively, the secondary is, everybody on defense is just light years ahead of where we were last year at this time, just because of the familiarity. Nothing really changed. Everything was pretty much the same. And then just the comfort level with nothing's really new anymore. And when nothing's new, they're going to play better and faster. And then the moves we made helped us. If you watched today, Jordan Lucas really had an outstanding spring. Trevor Williams had an outstanding spring. So we've got more depth there than we had last year, which we hope will give us some flexibility in our systems.
And will that, you kind of touched on it, you really ran no nickel at all last year. Will you be able, you don't have to give me,
game we did our version of it, which everybody knows was as best we could, but I feel comfortable leaving the spring that we're going to be able to be a little bit more multiple this year than we were last year.
The guys who made the change over from offense, Malik and Trevor, how did that transition go for both of those guys?
First of all, they both embraced it. I think they both realized that it could have been at the time a great opportunity, and it was. And they still need to develop, but I think it's a move that long term is going to be very good, both for them individually and our program. They're both good players that are going to bring value to us on defense.
Coach, 9 sacks today. I know it was dialed down on both sides, but can you just evaluate the pass rush and the D-line specifically?
Yeah, we have guys that can rush the passer. We feel pretty good about that. And that's the most important element of playing good pass defense, is having the ability to rush the passer and hit them and disrupt them and get them thinking about the rush. A lot of times it's not only about hitting them and sacking them, but the quarterback starts looking at the rushers instead of looking downfield and throwing the ball. So that's the most important thing we've got moving forward, is to keep developing that. Got some good young players coming through, but always has been a strength here, because we've recruited very well at that position, and I think it'll continue to be a strength for us.
How has Workman looked this year?
He's a good player. I mean, I'd hate to get into kind of the specifics of each individual guy, but Naeem is a very instinctual. He loves football. I think he's a guy that prepares, and he just needs to keep developing. He's one of the guys that we're going to count on, but he needs a lot of reps and a lot of seasoning and a lot of just more battle time.
Does he have that starting spot?
He rotated this spring with the ones pretty exclusively, and we feel like that if he keeps progressing along in that capacity, he'll be playing a lot for us next year. Ben Klein's a good player for us too, and he was hurt, so there'll be some competition at that will linebacker spot.
What was the spring like for you? Your first one as D coordinator here. How much of an adjustment was there for you?
I think it's just more of from an organizational standpoint, but we have a great staff. Larry and Ron and Anthony Midget are 3 coaches that fit very well with the plan that Billy wants, the staff Billy wants to put together. And it was just more of, okay, now I'm actually in charge of putting this plan together. But from a coaching standpoint, to me, a lot of that stuff comes naturally, getting out in the field and coaching football players and developing them and putting plans together. And, personally, I've been preparing for this for 18 years. It's just a matter of now's the opportunity.
How difficult was it to balance the injury side of things with?
That's our biggest challenge.
Contact.
Well, that's our biggest challenge. We got to practice as hard and as fast and as physical and as tough as we can, but we got to make sure that our best players are fresh and healthy when we play games. And that's why football is such a unique sport, in that you need to practice football to get good at it. And you need to practice football, you got to practice it hard and physical. You can't walk around and walk through. So that's going to be our biggest challenge as we move forward. over the next couple of years with our roster.
Is form tackling, is that something that you guys can still practice, or is that?
No, it is. Yeah.
With Coach O'Brien in the open mic, was that a toned down version of him on the sideline?
That's a question you have to ask him. Honestly, you know.
Temperance used the term multiply aggressive last year in characterizing the defense. Is that a carryover for you? Are you
I think so. Yeah, no, I believe in the same. You know, Ted and I were very similar. That's why I came to work here is to be with Billy and be at Penn State. But I also knew Ted, so we share a lot of the same philosophical things. But being aggressive isn't always about blitzing. It's about giving people different looks and having a disguise package and having, you know, your players really We're trying to teach our players how to understand the concepts of our defense. What are the strengths? What are the weaknesses? And how a different picture can still be aggressive but be very basic. So it's not always about just, you know, are we going to blitz more? Are we going to do more stuff? It's really just about having multiple complementary parts that can confuse and disrupt the other team's offense, which is what we want to be.
That term picture about giving offenses pictures.
Right.
But you believe in that thing too?
We believe in that wholeheartedly. We as a staff, not just me, but our staff believes that you've got to have the ability to change the picture. You've got to have the ability that the quarterback sees one thing and it's really something else. You know, because then our players, you know, they can use some of their skills. We got some good players, and it's not just about always lining up, and sometimes it's about creating confusion too.
To have Vandy and Larry, how important is that to this defense? I mean, I know you're coordinator.
I think it's important just in the concept of it's important that they're really good football coaches,
right.
And it's not really about them helping me or helping. It's about them helping us put together the best defense we possibly can put together. And you know, Ron is a great linebacker coach. Larry is a great D-line coach. They're also, you know, very good with their players. Their players love them, so they play hard for them. You know, and then they provide great experience, not only just here at Penn State, but as defensive minds. So this is a collective effort. It'll never, ever be about me. It's about us, and it just happens to be that I'm in charge, and Billy's put me with the responsibility of putting the plan together. But you know, we've got a great staff, and Anthony's come in and fit in very well. I mean, we have a very good staff of defensive coaches that I think, you know, we're going to, you know, allow us to continue the tradition of playing good defense here at Penn State.
Thanks.
Thank you.